Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm joined by Ry Armstrong, who is part of HBO's Gilded Age, which is by Downtown Abbey's Julian Fellows, which you can check out on HBO, or if you're in the UK, you can watch it on Sky. Hello, Ry, and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Mark. Nice to be here.
Can you start by just introducing yourself, tell me a little bit about kind of your previous credits, and then about your role within Gilded Age?
Yeah, sure. I'm a New York actor, so I've done one national tour and then three off-Broadway productions here in the city. And then the pandemic hit as I think we were in an etiquette class on March 11th, 2020. March 12th, Broadway shut down. March 13th, the studio shut down. So yeah, it's been kind of crazy. I didn't know if it would happen or not. And then I'm from Seattle, so I flew home to Seattle and stayed home during
Yeah,
the lockdown, as I'm sure many people did.
yeah,
And then, yeah, we came back around September, October, and then filmed for like 8 months, off and on. So it was kind of insanity. And I'm part of the downstairs help in the Russell household. So there were four core footmen that were brought on as like the regular, what was considered background, and then we were upgraded to co-star as they wanted to keep the same people and not
yeah,
have multiple actors in different sets, and try to eliminate some exposure variables.
yeah. What was it that kind of attracted you to being part of the show?
I mean, it was incredible. I don't know if I have words yet.
Yeah,
And it's funny because it's just so many theater people. It's all of Broadway. There's something like,
yeah,
I don't know, 24 Tony Awards in
yeah,
the show. So as a young actor, I was just watching like a sponge, everything I could learn.
yeah,
Also, as a footman, you just stand there and you don't
yeah,
say
yeah,
anything. I did have one line in the last episode that came out on Monday, which was fun. But yeah, most of the time you're either cleaning or doing your work downstairs, or you're watching the dinner scenes. And it's cool to watch these actors get their different coverage and kind of make interesting choices, and how they interact in between takes, which you don't
yeah.
see obviously watching the show.
Of
So
course, yeah.
yeah.
And kind of, as you say, working with that kind of caliber of talent, like so some of the names I've written down, kind of Christine Bransky, Nathan Lane, kind of Audra McDonald. It's just like, as you say, for a young actor, that must just be quite the experience.
Yeah, I think at that level they're just people too.
Yeah, of course.
They're putting on their pants and shirts just like you, but um they are more present as like artists in the
Yeah,
moment. And so like for me, getting to that moment or that ability to be as authentic in a character was wild. Like there was a scene where I don't want to give spoiler alerts, so if you haven't seen the last
yeah,
episode, but there was a scene where uh let's see. Um oh, sorry, I got a email message, it distracted me.
that's all right. That's
There
all
was
right.
a scene where Christine came in to the room and everyone's having dinner, and I'm literally serving real live pickled horse kidneys or pig kidneys,
Yeah,
like disgusting food. But the rich people of the 1870s and 80s, I guess, ate all this stuff.
yeah,
And Nathan Lane is just in it, just tossing it about and
yeah,
serving it on his plate and like cutting it up. So it was wild. It was just crazy to be around that energy, and try to soak it up as much as I could.
yeah. And obviously, the show, as I said at the start, it's kind of by Julian Fellows, which obviously British people all know. Downton Abbey. I mean, obviously, it's over there as well, but it's kind of massive, isn't it? But kind of, what was it like when you get to work on such a beloved writer's kind of project?
I mean, I don't know if I really understood when it was happening
Yeah,
how big it would be.
yeah,
This is like the American sexy version of Downton,
yeah,
but instead of one house, there's three houses.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like trying to accomplish so much. And then Julian was on set with us sometimes, and I would watch him walk around and talk to the directors or his assistant bring coffee, and
Yeah.
she always looked super posh and was British, and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up watching Downton. I think it was the first TV show I purchased on iTunes back when you could purchase thing on iTunes.
Yeah.
Because I was so obsessed with watching the seasons over and over again. Yeah. So I honestly feel like I'm still processing it. So I don't know. It's a weird feeling to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, as a footman, kind of in that kind of period, is there much research you had to do kind of into that?
Well, a lot of footmen were hired in different households based on the genetic look of what they were. So a lot of us look very similar.
Yeah.
We have a very Germanic household.
Yeah.
And that would be like a way for the rich, the 400, the Americans at the time, to like truly show off their wealth. But I mean, a lot of us were immigrants that came to America and then found our way into service trades and eventually worked up the ladders to become footmen. And that's like it's a very closed environment, but you were compensated very well for being there, and you were sheltered in this beautiful home on East 61st Street and Fifth Avenue. I mean, so yeah, it was kind of, we were also given a lot of information from the production. We had etiquette classes about how to French serve, English serve. So the details is, I mean, there's a person who specializes in cutlery just on the history team, and like it was just all kind of insanity. I just stood there and was told what to do and followed instructions.
Yeah, and obviously it's been well received already that the second series is happening,
right?
And obviously you're coming back. So without spoilers, kind of what are you hoping is going to be ahead?
Yeah, I don't know if what much I can say.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of the contracts for us are still pending, so there's nothing is confirmed, right? Unless it's in writing. As a fan of the show, I would say I would love to see more of Audra McDonald taking the forefront of what that story is. And Danae Benton, I mean, I think her work is some of the most incredible stuff that's happening on the show. And what is Black culture in the late 1800s? We never see that in such a beautiful way. So I thought the show accomplished that very well. But again, we'll just kind of see how it goes. Yeah.
And obviously, as you say, with such like a theatrical cast, obviously yourself kind of got a kind of theatre background as well. Is there any different way of preparing? I guess because obviously theatre you've only got one take, whereas obviously film you can do multiple. Is there kind of a different preparation you kind of do?
Yeah, I think it's all about where the audience is in the theater, right? You're in a physical space with the audience, so it's a little bit different. Oh, sorry, something just fell in my apartment.
That's all good.
Versus on camera, it's like a lens is right there. So it's just a little bit different. I think on film, it's just different about where the audience is, and it's just more intimate and much more internal versus in the theater. Not that it's not as believable, it's just you're living in the space in real time, and it's about the endurance of the thing, versus in film it's like, at least what I think I've learned is that you can do 7 takes and you give what you have in that moment, but then once you film the scene, it's done. You don't come back to it every night, 8 shows a week, you know.
Yeah. And kind of something I've always kind of interested is obviously when you're doing TV, I presume it's all filmed in a kind of scrambled order, whereas obviously theatre is obviously straight through, isn't it? One take, kind of that's the show done, right? Obviously TV, you've got however many 8 episodes or however many to kind of film. Does he kind of like film one bit from one episode, then do one bit from another episode, then it's kind of all glued together, I suppose?
Oh yeah, we had 8 locations.
Yeah.
From Rhode Island to Long Island to Troy, like, so we would film part of episode 9 and then go back to 2 and then up to 7. Like
Yeah.
we would never really know. And also I think at one time we had 4 or 5 cameras at once getting
Yeah.
different angles of different shots. So I mean, the coordination to get that to happen is stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And at a time when, COVID was not gone, there were no vaccines,
Yeah.
people were testing positive and having to quarantine. And like, I think there was a moment where like Sally, one of our directors, was literally on an iPad still making, like, the show must go on. That theater mindset was
Yeah.
brought onto our film studio, which was like very, very cool.
Amazing. And to slightly move off from the show for now, I'm going to ask you, because obviously back in, I think it's 2017, you released an album. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And if people want to check it out, I know you can get it still on Broadway Records, because I looked before we started.
Wow, amazing. Did your research?
I did.
Yeah. So I released a charity album that supports some great education programs where I grew up in Seattle at the Fifth Avenue Theater and the Northwest Boy Choir. And then also Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. So 100% of the proceeds, not the net proceeds, but just all the money from the sales of that and the streaming of that album goes towards those charities. So the more you listen to it, the more money that flows to their revenue streams, which I think is really cool. Yeah, that album took 4 years to make. Was my first like big project as a producer. And I'm glad it is now safely in the hands of Broadway Records. So if you do want to order it, you can go ahead and do that on their website. And it has like, I think 16 songs on it, all reimagined versions of different Broadway show tunes with tons of Broadway people like Nick Adams, Angel Rita, Connor Ryan, who's now he's playing the lead on the Moulin Rouge tour, going across the United States. So yeah, it's a pretty good album. I'm pretty proud of it. And Squigs did the cover art, and he does all of the like, caricature Broadway show, what are the playing cards, the lights of Broadway, all that stuff. So I caught him early before he got really, really famous and expensive.
Yeah. And obviously, is that something you kind of want to do, follow it up? Because obviously it's been 5 years this year. Is there going to be like a future for that kind of another one? Or
good question. Well, I don't think so. Maybe on a 10-year anniversary. It takes a lot to make that sort of stuff happen. We could maybe do a live concert with Broadway Cares or coordinate with Tom, but yeah, I just think I got too much going on.
Of course.
I'm already exhausted and not sleeping as it is, so I can't add something else to the plate right now.
Well, when it's only 5 years away, well, so we'll have to wait and see.
Right.
Now I'm going to throw some quick fire questions at you. You don't have to answer them quick fire. That's up to you. But the first one is, what was the first piece of theatre that you can remember seeing?
Oh, wow, that's a hard question. I remember going to Seattle Children's Theater, and there was this like, God, I don't know, I must have been like 5 or 6, but there was this like Faustian play about the devil, and someone signs a contract and sells their soul, and there's this whole courtroom scene with all these like very evil people that are like down in hell that are putting this other person on trial. I don't remember what the show was called, but that was like my first memory where I was like, this is magic. Like I am in the underworld right now. I might have been 7 or 8. God. But that was my first piece of theater that I was like, wow, this is a thing. It didn't really click to me that I could do that. I knew I loved it. I didn't know if I could be an actor in it. And that didn't click for me until like high school. But I always loved going to drama camps and being around theater and storytelling. I just didn't know if it was my thing to do for my life until like the end of high school.
Yeah, yeah. And another difficult one. What would be the favourite piece of theatre that you've ever seen?
Indecent on Broadway. You can stream it on Broadway HD. I think it's one of the best plays ever written. Paula Vogel is amazing, and it's genius.
Yeah, very simple. This doesn't have to be career based, but what would be one thing on your bucket list?
I really want to go to Thailand.
Yeah,
I really would love to spend a month and a half in Thailand and just get out of the US for a while. We've had a rough couple. I mean, the world's had a rough couple of years.
Yeah.
So my bucket list is becoming more and more selfish towards travel than career, I think.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I have a cousin in Thailand, so I need to go over really.
That's amazing.
What keeps you inspired? That's my next one.
It's hard to be inspired, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think that's the real answer to that question is it's difficult.
yeah,
But that's why I try to like surround myself with people who are also doing it. So I get inspired by other people and other people's passions towards anything, really. Even if an accountant is really passionate about accounting,
yeah,
sometimes that can just inspire me to like, oh, maybe I should focus on that or this, or get my act together.
yeah.
So I think it's in the little things, but it's also hard to stay inspired and motivated.
Yeah. I guess has that changed kind of, as you say, during the pandemic? I guess obviously having the kind of show to work on, it's kind of been helpful, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like how valid is theater after a time when theater wasn't considered essential by many governments in the world.
Yeah.
So, but I still choose to believe in the power of storytelling, and I think it's affected me so much it's affected me to the point of changing who I am now, where it's kind of an addiction. I can't live without it. In a good and bad way. Everything in balance.
Yeah, of course. And if you could have dinner with 3 guests, it can be alive or dead, who are you inviting?
Michelle Obama.
Yep.
Easy peasy. Wow. That one was quick, and the other 2 were hard because now I have only 2 more slots.
You do.
You said alive or dead?
Yeah, they don't have to be. Obviously, they'll be alive at the pie, but
right. Yeah, Michelle Obama, Harvey Milk, and Maya Angelou.
Strong choices.
I think that would be such a great dinner conversation.
That would be amazing. I'm gonna have to come. I'll be there. The footman for that. I'll be the footman for that.
For you.
Yeah. Right. What would be the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
You only have to do one thing in your life, and that is to die. Everything else is completely your decision. It's such a freeing thought. That
is very good. It should be on like t-shirts. It probably already is. And my final question for you today is simply, why should people watch Gilded Age?
Because it's still relevant today. And as like messed up as the inequality of the world is right now, it still existed back then. To the fact that there was a group of people called the 400, and these people were like holding on to so much of New York City's wealth and America's wealth, really, is crazy. It might be the 4,000 today, but those billionaires still control so much. So it's like a time capsule, but it's also extremely disturbing because not much has changed, except for maybe technology and our ability to, I guess, communicate or travel faster. Information just moves quicker. But yeah, I think it's really poignant to what's happening right now in America, even though it's over, 140, 150 years old.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, that wraps it up brilliantly. Ry, thank you for your time today. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I hope you come back for the second series.
Thank you, Mark. Me too.